The story of St. Thomas Becket. Thomas Becket, born in 1118 in London, was a man of remarkable talents and a future that seemed destined for greatness. His father, Gilbert Becket, was a wealthy merchant, and his mother, Matilda, was of noble descent. As a young man, Thomas was sent to study in Paris, where he gained a reputation for his brilliance and deep intellect. His early life was filled with ambition, and little did he know that his journey would lead him to become one of the most influential and controversial figures in English history. In 1154, Thomas was appointed Chancellor of England by King Henry II, a position that placed him in a position of significant power and influence. He and the king developed a close friendship, built on mutual respect and shared goals. Thomas's rise to power seemed almost inevitable, and he became a trusted advisor to the king, handling political affairs and overseeing the kingdom's financial matters. At the time, Thomas was a layman, but his connection to the church remained strong, and in 1162, Henry II made a fateful decision that would alter Thomas's life forever. The king appointed Thomas as the Archbishop of Canterbury, the highest position in the English church. This move was intended to solidify the king's control over the church and its power, as Thomas was seen as a loyal ally. However, after being consecrated as archbishop, Thomas underwent a profound transformation. His once worldly focus gave way to a deep and unwavering commitment to the church and its teachings. Thomas Becket became a fierce defender of the church's rights and privileges, opposing the king's attempts to exert control over ecclesiastical matters. This conflict, particularly over the issue of the king's rights to appoint church officials and the independence of the church from royal influence, led to a bitter and enduring struggle between Thomas and Henry II. As Thomas stood firm in his beliefs, the king became increasingly frustrated with his former ally. The struggle between Thomas and Henry II reached its breaking point in 1170. King Henry, exasperated by Thomas's resistance, is reported to have uttered the infamous words, "Who will rid me of this turbulent priest?" For knights, taking the king's words literally, set off for Canterbury with the intention of silencing Thomas once and for all. On December 29, 1170, Thomas Becket was in the Cathedral of Canterbury when the knights arrived. They confronted him inside the church and demanded that he absolve the excommunicated bishops who had been placed under punishment by the archbishop. When he refused, they brutally attacked him in the sanctuary of the cathedral. The knights struck Thomas down, and he fell to the ground, uttering his final words, "I am ready to die for the name of Jesus and the Church." St. Thomas Becket was martyred for his unwavering commitment to the Church and its independence from royal authority. His death was a turning point in English history. The brutal murder of the Archbishop shocked the nation and even reached the ears of the Pope. In 1173, just a few years after his death, Thomas Becket was canonized as a saint by Pope Alexander III. The martyrdom of St. Thomas Becket had profound consequences. Henry II, after facing public outrage and being forced to do penance for his role in Thomas's death, came to recognize the strength of the Church and its role in the governance of England. The conflict between Church and state began to shift, and while tensions persisted, the martyrdom of St. Thomas Becket became a symbol of the Church's resilience and authority in the face of political power. St. Thomas Becket's story is one of profound faith, courage, and sacrifice. He chose to stand up for what he believed was right, even when it meant standing against his king and facing death. Today, St. Thomas Becket is remembered as a martyr who gave his life for the Church and the freedom to practice one's faith. His feast day is celebrated on December 29th, and his legacy lives on as an example of loyalty to God, unwavering conviction, and the power of standing up for justice, even in the face of great adversity.